So let me ask first, how many of you are familiar with Viktor Frankl and his international best-selling book, Man's Search for Meaning? Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of background about Viktor Frankl and why it's so important. His probably greatest contribution to humanity was in establishing that meaning is a key factor in mental health and well-being, and the primary motivation for us living. Meaning is that pull that we feel towards things, that innate knowing that we need to pursue something. I read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. It resonated with me so strongly that really when you have something to live for, that is the most important, criteria for actually surviving very difficult times. So Viktor Frankl was born in 1905 in Vienna, Austria. And he was a student, and in junior high, he decided to take adult night classes in the new field of psychology. Freud was also from Vienna, and he had introduced this concept of psychology. And he said, we're always pursuing pleasure. That's what humans are about. And one of his students was Alfred Adler. And he's like, no, it's really about power. Now, Frankl corresponded with Freud, and he was a student of Adler. But he's like, pleasure, power, but really it's about meaning. Meaning is why we exist. It's what pulls us from who we are to what we can become. And he defined meaning as what is meant. First time I read that, I'm like, okay, not helpful. What is meant? What does it mean? What is meant and intended for an individual to do in the specific circumstances of their lives. There's no general meaning of life. It is individual to the unique human being. So meaning is our dance with life. And we find it in three primary ways. What we give to the world, our creative works, our deeds, the things we do and contribute, we make. We are creators. What we take in from the world, our experiences and our connections with people we love, nature, art, beauty. And in those circumstances that are unavoidable suffering, it's the attitude we take that shapes us and gives our life's meaning, even on the incontrollable circumstances that we find ourselves in. That's part of human life. Guilt, suffering, and death are part of human life. And each of us will respond to our circumstances, not by having the circumstances determine who we are, but us deciding what we do with that. So you look at industrialization that's standardized, linear, and yet the pool of meaning is not linear. You pivot, you change, you meet somebody, you move constantly. There's no certainty in life. The future is unknown and unknowable because we are all creating it with how we answer the demands of life. At the time, I didn't realize that Viktor Frankl spoke a lot about education and that he really believed that, education should be to challenge people to make independent and authentic decisions based on who they were, not to be indoctrinated into a certain cultural way of life as an economic, machine widget that would go through a system and come out the other end with something that was supposedly a successful life. When he was in medical school, 25, there was a rash of suicides in the town of Vienna around the time of report cards. And the town was so concerned with this epidemic that it paid money to have this new field of psychology have these psychologists in their homes and offices list all the locations, and a student could go look and see where they were, and they could go in and talk to somebody about what was going on. So the economy was bad. It was 1929. And the importance of tests and things like that, the pressure that was on these kids was tremendous. That it was all about what they needed to do, just like we have today. And so they came up with a protocol. And within a year, the suicide rate dropped to 0. And he began speaking and helping other towns help kids reorient with, it's not what you're getting out of life. You are so unique and so important. You're here to give to life. And your task throughout your life is to figure out what that is. So I'm always amazed that we value cognitive intelligence and competitive performance over this essential part of being human. The responsibility we have for the life we've been given, the empathy and compassion, and most of all, love. That's what makes the world go round. And yet we think if they get a job, if they have the right this, then they're going to be fine. And we're going to help them do that.
Sir Ken Robinson was great with this when he would meet with administrators and policymakers and like, what do we do about the mental illness of kids and the dropout rate and all this? And he just said, stop causing it. So systems are transactional. And systems don't nurture people. People nurture people. And so while they have a role, and I don't want to dismiss it, we've given them too much responsibility and really overburdened them with levels of responsibility beyond their capabilities. The human is relational. We are designed to engage outward with the world, right? We have eyes to look outward. We have senses all around us. Before the cameras or the mirrors, this is how we engage with the world.
So Frankl ended up, he was Jewish, and he ended up in 4 concentration camps, the span of 3 years. He was 37 when he went in, and he had just been married for 9 months. He had a new wife, and he had his manuscript of this theory that he had developed called logotherapy, which is healing through meaning. And he had learned this theory through his work with suicidal patients in a psychiatric hospital in Vienna. And he wasn't so much wondering what made them want to die, although he did acknowledge that. He wanted to know what made them want to live. Because so many that didn't had something that they finally could say, what am I doing this for? So what happens when we can't pursue meaning? What happens when we can't answer that pull, when we are confined? Viktor Frankl said, he called it the existential vacuum. The hallmarks are boredom, a lack of interest, and apathy, a lack of motivation. So that's what happens when we can't be our authentic selves.
The greatest gift we can do as educators is to model the love of learning we have and the value of connectedness, the presence that we give. Then doing a big picture model where you're getting kids out, where you're really recognizing the need for the individual to have dignity, to be respected, and to be able to search for meaning. And to search for meaning, you want to expand the pool of possibilities so that there's more things. The more they're confined, mind, body, and soul, the more frustrated their search for meaning will be. And they don't even know that they they have that responsibility to do the most with their life for something greater than themselves.
But I just wrote an article called AI Can't Find Meaning. Now, AI is all the rage right now, right? You can either look at it as fearful and oh my gosh, or you can look at it as hopeful, it's going to save the world. But AI is just another iteration of the known universe. It's not able to tap in to what's outside of those parameters. It's a great tool. It's a really good personal assistant. It shouldn't be the CEO because it's not biologically, psychologically, and spiritually capable of doing what human beings could do.
AI is the shiny object right now, right? So we have the industrialization, we have all of the digitization and corporatization and everything else, and now we have AI, which is just a synthesis of the known world. But the human, we're the ones that bring in the unknowable, what's not there yet, and we're the ones that can resonate with those possibilities and create them.
Because a human being has this capacity of a conscience and senses where we can tap into the quantum field of possibilities.
And so I hope to see ecosystems of learning where school is a part of a community, but it doesn't have the central position. With older, younger, multi-generational, not just peer, not, all these constructs are industrialization. We batched and sorted by age. We've done it in our society. We've separated old and young. We separate by grade levels, and they're on conveyor belts that pushes them through to this sort of linear, pre-constructed pathway rather than them going through the discovery process within a community. So one of my favorite quotes is Howard Thurman: "Don't do what the world needs, do what makes you come alive, because what we need is people who come alive."